ekhaya sibamba ngazo zozibini mziba. Why are you playing the wrong insert when I said let's talk about Mandela and we're talking about Johnny Clegg and Mam Nontle? But that's what Jackson and Griselda had to say about the late greats, the actress as well as the musician, the White Zuluman and a legend, Mam Nontle, who is a favorite Upper South African television screen. So thank you very much for sharing your talent with us. We look up to you and we'll follow on your footsteps. That song that I forgot to tell you about, it's The Shabs. Can you hear us on the back there? It's one of the top 3, so make sure that you head on to Facebook and vote for them. Right now, we are joined by MOT. Everybody give a warm welcome as they are seated on their yellow couches.
The roof is on fire!
First of all, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Now,
it's a pleasure.
Yes, you know how I pronounce your name at first as MOT, and then they were like, no, sweetie, it's Moot. So I got it now. So if anyone's ever heard of Moot before, what is it?
So Moot is the Norwegian word for courage. I'm wearing my beautiful t-shirt.
Oh, wow. Okay, girl. Okay, girl. Okay, so
show courage. Yeah, so it started in Norway. It's a life skills concept. Right. Started in Norway about 22 years ago, and it's in South Africa now for 11 years. We're in 5 countries, so that's why we call it a global life skills movement, the concept. So we aim at to inspire, to empower our youth with life skills, and we want them to be courageous. We want them to be resilient. We want them to go out there and be active citizens, to be youth leaders, because we're talking about Madiba today.
Yes.
So it's all about his legacy, and we want to live his legacy. Definitely. So that is what our job is. We're going to create those leaders, those youth of today. They are the leaders of tomorrow. So we want to empower them, because we keep saying we're going to do that, but how are we doing it? So we are here to help them and give them the courage to really be who they are and to take control.
People come, people go, organizations come, they vanish into thin air, but you guys are bragging about being in existence for decades. What is it that you're doing right that has contributed and attributed to your longevity?
So before you can answer the question about what you're doing right, you need to look at Moot's values as well. So if you look at the values, we live by 3 values, which is the courage to live, the courage to care, the courage to say no. And then also we also live by 4 principles, which is working proactively, to give culture builders responsibility, to reinforce the positive, and then also to see the whole person. Now, having a main focus on the principles as well, the most important one is to work proactively with the youth to get it right.
Now, can we speak about your guys' philosophy as Moot? What is your philosophy if it isn't different to your principles and values?
So our philosophy is made up of this life skills concept, our 2 life skills programs. We have one at high school and one at TVET College. And it's also made up of, as Cheslyn spoke about, our values, but also our mission and vision. And our vision is really to create a warmer and safer society. And how do we do that? With us as Moot, we work with the youth. So then I spoke about we empowering them through this life skills concept, and they are the ones that are going to create the change. They are the ones that are going to bring about that warmer, safer society. And what we were talking about earlier, your question is very, very prominent, because the reason we are so successful and we can continue to impact the youth is because we are value-based. We realize that the foundation is lost with our young people today. There are social ills, we all know about them: teen suicide, early pregnancy, bullying in our schools. So how do we as Moot try to come in and help? We're actually helping the teachers, the educators. We have community volunteers, and they run the program over 3 years at the high schools as well as our TVET colleges. We're empowering them, we're giving them the tools so that they can give the youth the tools. Because we can't just as Moot come in and decide we want to make a change. We need to actually empower others to make that change. So that is our philosophy. That's what we want to do.
That is so good. And speaking of making a change, right next to you is actually a person who has been impacted by Moot. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so I basically started Moot in 2017, and just getting involved in the program, I would always use this, that Moot found me. It's a program where you can basically, it gives you tools, it equips you with a set of values, a set of principles. And also if I can tie it into the vision of MOT and why it says a warmer and safer society is because it doesn't say warm and safe. We're not a warm and safe. We want to create a warmer and safer society. So bringing myself into MOT, it's merely just me wanting to be there for the next person. And then also going back to a principle, seeing the whole person as well. Many of our youth, we tend to just respond,
Right.
but we don't dig a bit deeper.
Right.
We want to see the whole person actually. So that is what MOT does. It takes you through all of that for you eventually to get that background understanding.
Actually, Cheslyn, I want to, so you say you started MOT, right? Now, with the person who has benefited from the program, how have they benefited?
It's really simple. If you look at it, we a organization, and we basically, personally, how I benefited from
Yes.
it is I found my true self with the program. Because if you look at social ills and certain things, you are said to be a certain way,
Right.
but you're not really that person.
Right.
So that is what MOT actually made me realize, that I can express myself the way I want to. I can be whoever I want to be.
Right.
If I could add.
Yes,
So,
please.
so Cheslyn is one of our young motivators.
Yeah.
So I spoke about it being a 3-year program. In the second year, we handpick, we select a group of youth that we feel are culture builders, because that's what we want to do. We want
Right.
to change the cultures in the schools
Yes.
to a more positive space, a warmer, safer space, a respectful place, a caring place. So we select those that stand out to us and we can see, hey, but this person's actually making a change in this group. They're a role model.
Right.
Let's take them and let's further develop them and strengthen their courage, their awareness, their resilience, and let's make them actually peer educators. So that's another program that we have, Young Motivators Education. So
Right.
we train them,
Right.
they go back and they facilitate the program further, and they assist the MOT coaches, which are trained educators, and they help continue the program and make sure that there are courage community projects and that they are further developing their peers. Because we know that we all listen, as I'm still youth, guys.
Yes, definitely you are.
FYI.
Your face says that.
So as youth, we listen to our peers more than the educator. We are empowering them, we're giving them the tools. But if somebody like Cheslyn stands in front of you and he just gives of himself and he shows, look at me, I can be who I am.
Right.
And I am happy and I am courageous and I'm resilient, then he is a role model to the rest of his peers because they're the
Right.
same age. So identifying somebody like Cheslyn is very important in our organization to equip him as well with those tools to pass on to the next generation or to his generation actually. So he's from False Bay College, False Bay TV College in, is it Fisher?
Fisher.
Campus. So that's one of our partners,
Right.
and that's why we love to bring him with, because he's a good example of and a good role model to other young people. His strength, his courage, his charisma, his wisdom, he can truly share that with others. And it's very important to give a platform, and that's what MOT is. It's merely a platform for them to be who they are and to spread the word, basically. Madiba's legacy, ne?
Yeah.
You're saying that he's from False Bay College. So what's your relationship with the Department of Education?
Very good question. As
I'm
an
good.
NPO,
Hey now. Hey now.
you're full of them good questions. But as an NPO, it's very important that we have a relationship with the government, but it's also very tough. It's very challenging, I have to be honest. We're constantly trying, and we just had a new election, so we're developing those relationships constantly. But what we really want, and our main aim with the government, is to work so closely together that this becomes part of the curriculum. Because at the moment, MOT is an extracurricular activity. They do it in their breaks, so they try their very best to add it into RO. But we really want something like this, because we talk about, what is that line? Enter to learn, leave to serve.
Wow,
And we
okay.
want to fit into that.
Wow.
And we want them to add it to the program and create a holistic being. Not just look at the academics, but look at how can we create a respectful culture at our school. We talk about our kids and we have 8 hours a day with them at school. What can we do to really bring the children closer to the teachers, and to also they realize their purpose from a young age already. So that will help combat the substance abuse, if they really know who they are and they know their purpose. But what in the academic calendar is doing that? So that's our constant challenge, I would say, but that is our aim.
You just spoke of children in school. Now my worry is there are people who are out of school that might need the set of skills, because this is, it's worth having what you're offering, so that you can lead a great life. So what if I'm out of school already, but I need you guys as MOT?
Yeah, well, you see, I'm going to give an analogy of a drug addict, right? If a drug addict wants help, then they will get help. They will search for help. They will look for an organization or for a rehab. But if they're not ready, if they don't want it, no one can force them. So we do have a lot of young people and even some parents saying, but I want my child involved. Your child needs to want to be involved. Your child needs to want to give back. So if that is the case, we can take them on as MOT coaches, and we actually have community members and other youth that come on board, and we train them to actually be facilitators as well of the program.
I think we're running out of time. Thank you so much, Julia and Cheslyn, for joining us in our studio.
thank you so much.
In the spirit of giving, NMU gave their 67 minutes to tribute and sing beautiful songs for Nelson Mandela. Let's go see their tweetable and angelic voices, what they had to sing for us. Let's go see.
Wanna try? No?